gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cedar Point Unlimited. I am, of course, Cedar from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again by Steve Lynn. Steve, how is it going tonight?
Oh, it's going. Finally figured out how to use these cool little virtual backgrounds. So now I'm like sitting underneath the corkscrew on corkscrew. We've got Val Raven over there to my, I think that's to my left. I don't know how it'll look when we're actually done recording this, but yeah, it's finally warming up. We're in the first weeks of April. Snow seems like it's gone, and we're getting into the warmer weather, getting ready for coaster season.
We got parks open. Carowinds opened up. We got parks opening up soon here with Kings Dominion and Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and we got all these parks that are open. More parks are set to open, but here at CP Unlimited, we of course care about Cedar Point, and this past week we did get the final piece of this map that we've been waiting for here. So the big attraction this year at Cedar Point is going to be this Forbidden Frontier, and we've been speculating for a long time as to what this is going to be, and I think this last piece of the map here has kind of, at least for me, has kind of changed the whole conception of what this is. So let's look at this last piece of the map, and what we actually have. The first thing that's very striking is we have this big playland type area now, kind of reminiscent of Kiddie Kingdom back in the day, over where the Ferris wheel currently sits, Wicked Twister, Gatekeeper. That area used to be a playland for kids, ball pits, bridges. And Steve, it looks like that's what we have here as well now all of a sudden.
Yeah, it definitely looks like some type of play area. Now, the big question is, Cedar Point's been saying this whole attraction is for everyone of all ages. So it kind of makes me wonder if it is a play place, is this something that adults are going to be allowed on? Or is it strictly like a play area type of thing for kids with ball pits and, slides in like a jungle gym? So that's something that I'd be very curious to see. And it does look like this play area or jungle gym is right next to the stage that they're talking about, where there's probably going to be some type of live show or live music. So maybe if it is specifically for kids, parents can watch this show. Maybe they're going to have, food and drinks served back here. So, they can sit down, enjoy a show, while their kids who may not want to watch it, they're able to go over to that jungle gym and, play around over there.
Yeah. And like that. So like that to me, with the stage, with this playland area that looks kind of big, it's got a few towers on it, got a few slides, got a number of different bridges and everything. To me, that moves this, like we talked about in the past, that the beginning on the Shoot the Rapid splash pad, that the beginning was kind of reminiscent of maybe like Tom Sawyer's Island at Disney. Mm-hmm. And this kind of expands that theory, more right there in your face with it, whereas Disney's might be a little bit more themed to what you would do on the island. But here you have that kids area where kids can run around and play. So to me, that kind of changes this from, I think when we went into this, everyone thought, it's going to be like Ghost Town Alive. It's going to be live interactive theater, that you're going to have to go on these quests. Now we're moving it to, okay, this is now another kids family area that you can just take the kids to run around in and play, that you don't even have to interact with anybody, that this just becomes almost, I think I'm going to say this a number of times today, this almost is looking like a new Midway. It just doesn't have any rides yet. So yeah. I think a lot of people have always said, let's open up a new Midway. Let's open up this. Well, I think this is happening out here on Millennium Island. But it's not going to have rides just yet. Now we're going to look at the map here and say maybe it could in the future. The other thing Tony talks about in the blog is one of the buildings on this final piece of the map, because we didn't talk about the second to last piece of the map either, and that's where the jungle gym was, half of it. But there's also this big building smack dab in the middle of the island, which we, to this point, we've kind of matched up with the Google Maps. So far, what we think is happening is you have the raft thing over the Shoot the Rapid splash pad. You'll proceed in under Millennium Force, and that first fort area will be where the old T-Rex and the T-Rex and the Triceratops used to be, in the middle of the second turnaround of Millennium Force. Then you'll proceed further, and a lot of this other stuff in the middle of the island we think is going to happen right inside the turnaround of Millennium Force. So part of this jungle gym, according to this map, some people have put together all the pieces of the map to give us a better idea of what's happening here, but we think that the jungle gym is mostly going to be within the circle of the first turnaround, and then also this new building, which I think is also very interesting, because Tony Clark says this, Steve. Tony Clark says, to the left, there's a large structure. One thing that hasn't been clear is a place for the island residents to eat. Is that a mess hall of sorts? And Steve, when the first thing that jumped to my mind was Harmony Hall at Carowinds, which has been a major success. People rave about that setting, being able to go in there. I've eaten there. You get to go in there. They have like 4 different types of food stations there. It's not buffet. It is, a la carte. So you buy what you want, you check out, and you go and sit and eat. I don't know if this place is going to be big enough to sit inside. I can't tell. We know from the webcam, some people posted pictures of a pretty big structure being built. Harmony Hall actually has a stage on the inside of it as well. You've been to Kings Island, just think Fest House, because it's the same basic concept, just a little bit more modern down at Carowinds than the Fest House is. Same basic concept, though. Various lines, various food places to eat, and then some sort of seating on the middle. This might be seating on the inside, might be seating on the outside. But Steve, once again, this changes the complete conception of what I thought this was going to be, because now I may want to just go there just to go have lunch or to go have dinner. So now I have to go onto this island and go there to be able to access this stuff. And once again, it's sounding more like a new Midway to me than just an attraction.
Yeah, I would agree. This when this was first announced, there was no information really about what it was other than an interactive, attraction that was going to take place on the old Dinosaurs Alive island. And as more and more of this map gets revealed, and now we have the whole map. There's just seems like there's so much more than just basic a live action type of attraction. I wish this map was to scale. It very well could be. We don't know, but because then if it was to scale, we'd really be able to tell how big this building is that might contain this restaurant or, not buffet style, this mess hall where a lot of food or other items could be. This could also just even be just a gift shop at the end, because this is the last building that seems to be on the trail. Maybe it's just a gift shop, or maybe it's there's food and a gift shop located in that area. What I find really interesting about this is it looks like there's some type of deck that's going out over the water towards the top right of the map. And from looking at Google Maps, it looks like this is almost where the sand pit was from Dinosaurs Alive. So I think that this could also be a restaurant itself, because, they have the indoor area. Maybe that's where you go and get your food. And then they have this outdoor deck. Maybe that's a place where, people can eat and sit down and kind of overlook the lagoon.
Yeah.
And, Tony kind of hinted at this, this big building at the bottom might be a mess hall, but he also said it might just be someone's house who lives on the island. So it's still very unclear as to what this actually is. And I don't think we're going to get much more information about Forbidden Frontier until the park opens. Today's April 6th, park opens May 11th. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear anything else about Forbidden Frontier until opening day, when the parks open and we're going up to the weekend, Memorial Day weekend, when this attraction does open. Maybe there'll be a few more hints and teasers as to what might come, but I don't think they're going to talk much about this until it actually opens, because they want everyone to come here and experience it. And, it sounds like it's going to be some, every time you enter this attraction, it's going to be something totally different than, what you have experienced previously. Maybe the previous month you went to the park, or people like us, we're a lot of times going every week.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be excited here for now, because if indeed they're bringing people in to this area through the restaurants, through the kiddie play area, that have no interest in interacting with anything, this becomes a new Midway, and there is a whole lot of space here to add rides. If you look, where the old entrance to Dinosaurs Alive was, on the very left-hand side of the map, there's not a whole lot going on over there.
Right.
You could add.
When you say rides, though, they'd be smaller rides with a smaller footprint. Nothing like a roller coaster, something the size of maybe like a Skyhawk or some type of flat ride. Definitely no large attractions.
You wouldn't have any large roller coasters. You could, in the future, you could put in a smaller type roller coaster, like an Infinity coaster or a single rail Raptor coaster. Those would fit in, maybe not so much on the land, but it also if you use the water area as well, if you had to go over the water. And we know that other, like Wonder Woman goes over water down at Fiesta, Texas. So you could fit in one of those. I don't think we're going to see that in the short term, though. I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to see flat rides in the short term. But right now, I think this is turning out to be a lot more than what I expected, a lot more than what, a whole lot of other people expected too. So that kind of makes me excited because they're drawing people out of the park into this new area, a place that, Dinosaurs Alive, even in its heyday, wasn't heavily attended. It drew people out of the park.
One of the main differences is this is a free attraction. You can experience it while, with your park ticket or season pass. Dinosaurs Alive, you had to pay extra to go to that, and there really wasn't anything to it. You would walk around, and it's like going to a zoo, except there's no live animals. There's just fake dinosaurs. It was something you do one time, and that's it. The only time I would go back to the island was because I wanted to get pictures of Millennium that you can't get anywhere else in the park unless you're on that island. I just think this, when Cedar Point announced this, I did not have high expectations for it, just because of when I heard that they were putting it on Dinosaurs Alive Island. I thought, just back to Dinosaurs Alive and how, really it was a pretty big failure. And with this, I'm very excited to see, what they're doing here.
Well, and, I remember talking to Danny when it was first announced, and Danny made the point of, that's not something that I'd be interested in doing when we thought it was live interactive theater like Ghost Town Alive. He's like, that's, I go to Cedar Point a couple of times a year, if that. And when I do, my job is to ride coasters. And he's like, I don't see myself going back to this attraction and taking the time out. Like, for a person like me, I'm like, yeah, I'd do it. If it was fun, I'd do it twice. But now that's all out the window. That I think even, and I haven't talked to him about this, because it just came out this week, but now we're talking about, if you want to have lunch, if you want to have dinner, if this is really like Harmony Hall, which has become the main eating area of Carowinds, or like Fest House, where, midday that place is packed to the brim with people. Now you're talking about a whole lot of foot traffic going back here, and now people who are like, nah, I'm not even going to go look at it, now they're going to be forced to go look at it because they want to go eat at this place, and they might say, hey, this is kind of cool back here. This is a place that I might want to be, or might want to spend some time in. Danny's still not. I guarantee you.
He's like, I'm going to Cedar Point for the roller coasters.
Yeah, he's still not going to do that other stuff back there. But he might consider walking across that bridge to go to a place that is much like Harmony Hall, like the Fest House, because those places have been overly, especially Harmony Hall, has been overly praised as one of the best things Carowinds has ever done there, is to expand their food collection and have that place. So I'm really, really excited about these developments, and I think this has changed the entire conception of what this is. I'm a little confused as to the secrecy on it, though. I don't know why you wouldn't have promoted this, because so many people were bashing this idea at the beginning and like, oh, wow, this is stupid. Oh, they need to do other stuff like bring back, paddle wheel excursions. And I think this has gone well above and beyond. Yeah, it's not an upcharge. Yeah, it's still, cashing in on more food places, more dining. But Steve, as well as I do, Cedar Point needs more dining options.
Oh yeah.
That they have a lot of food at Cedar Point, a lot of the same food though. And they're opening up more barbecue places. Hopefully this place, if it's like Harmony Hall, gives you options. I'll tell you what, Harmony Hall has some of the best sub sandwiches I've ever had in my life. They're
I think
delicious.
the only sub sandwiches that are at Cedar Point is the Subway on the main Midway, and it's like $15 for a foot long. So.
And I don't even think it's on the dining plan, right? Because
I don't remember. I don't have the dining plan, so
what?
I don't have it.
What?
My girlfriend has it though, so we'll always use hers and get Panda Express and split it because they give you so much chicken and rice. So
absolutely. So I'm really excited about this. I don't know about you. What are your final thoughts here?
Yeah, I'd say I think the fact that they are keeping it such a mystery is what has me so interested in this. If they were to go out and say, this is what, this is the trail you're going to follow, this is what happens at each station, I guess we can call it, I'd be a little less excited. And I think overall they would, be trying to hype it up too much, and people are going to be disappointed because it's not a roller coaster. It's not a ride.
Yeah.
It's not this isn't something that Cedar Point's known for. They do have great shows, but it's not what they're known for. Disney's known for having amazing shows and things like that. Cedar Point's known for their thrill rides. What I am very interested to see is what could they do with this for Halloween-weekends? I mean, they're having like Frontier Festival, that's summer, they expanded it. We talked about it our last show. They're expanding it to, be more family friendly. They're still going to have the beer and the food, and then they're going to have kids activities. This seems like, the island itself is all a family friendly type of thing. So could they have some type of Oktoberfest? That's something that Cedar Point doesn't have, and was very popular at Jog Lake.
Yeah.
When that was still around. So, or are they going to turn this? Maybe they're going to change the theming of, how the characters are acting for Halloween and have a Halloween theme type attraction during that time. Or maybe they'll turn it, kid friendly in the day, and then at night it turns into a haunt, another outdoor haunt type of thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, two thoughts here on that, because I think that's a really good point. One, we all know that Terror Island was the best scare zone ever. Well, not ever, because I think Fear Fair was pretty good too. But both of them have the same characteristic, and the characters
held fog
in the trees or the pavilion held that fog in, so you couldn't see anything. Now, Steven, I went to Knott's Scary Farm 2 years ago. Ghost Town was up there with those two haunts, and when they pumped Ghost Town with fog. Once again, the buildings, the trees held that fog in. It was some of the crazy, like you couldn't see, if you put your hand in front of your face like this, you couldn't see your hand. That's how much
the one with the corn maze one, what's it called? Cornstalkers. Couldn't remember. That used to hold fog like crazy, and it probably still does, and they just don't pump the fog into it anymore like they used to. And I still love the haunt. I just how condensed you are in the hay and the people that blend in with that, but the fact that it's lost all the fog, it definitely does make it a little less scary.
Yeah, Terror Island, Fear Fair, and Ghost Town are the three scare zones that I think are the best three. And I mean, I'm also including stuff I've been through at Universal Studios too. I think those three scare zones are some of the best scare zones I've ever been through. Yeah, Universal has more actors, better costumes, maybe more little, scenes that happen on the inside of the scare zones. But for pure terror purposes of things I was legitimately afraid of as I was walking through, those three scare zones are the top three. And if they can do something with this island and bring back that feel of Terror Island, I'll tell you what, they got something even better coming up for Haunt then, because I'm more excited for that.
Park's not even open yet, and we're already talking about Halloween. But the only other thing that I guess I would say about potentially using this for Haunt is We're talking about there is some room for a small flat ride. Maybe they use that space to build a building to keep an indoor haunt on the island. You know, just kind of how they did with where then it was still Mean Streak. They put a building within that infield, and that is where the Eden Musée used to be, which is now Deprivation. And yeah, I mean that could also be another option.
There's plenty of space, especially considering that they're not using a whole lot of areas like right underneath Millennium Force.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make it into a building, that doesn't become an issue, because usually the theory is that you don't want to put stuff underneath a roller coaster because stuff could fall on your head. But if you put it inside of a building, obviously you get rid of that issue, and now the queue line would just be off to the side, and you'd have the building more in that area. They have a whole lot of stuff back there between Millennium Force and Rougarou. Just a whole lot of like gravel land that you've probably seen it. You know, they used to have some Snake River Falls boats over there. They used to have the T-Rex from out front out over there for a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a whole lot of space back there that you can do a lot of cool stuff. So I'm really excited about this now. I think this has moved from something that piqued my interest a little bit to something that I think is really going to transform how people spend their day at Cedar Point.
Yeah.
I think people.
One thing that I wish they would have done with this is, because it definitely doesn't look like it based off of the map, that there is no path leading to where
Camp Snoopy.
You would originally, Camp Snoopy, where you would originally enter Dinosaurs Alive, because I get why they wouldn't do that, because you're supposed to enter and kind of exit the island the same way. We'll probably figure out why, that is, when we enter the attraction and see, how the characters interact with you and everything. But it would have been so nice to be able to go from Frontier Town, cut through the whole park, because it does take a long time when you have to walk all the way around.
And at the one level I agree with you, because I'm like, if they are indeed going to increase the traffic to this area, is that one bridge going to be enough to handle the amount of people that are wanting to come in to go to lunch, if indeed that is like a Harmony Hall type restaurant? A second pathway out would have been helpful, but are they also doing it maybe to cut down on people like running in the morning? But there's really nothing to run to. If you enter by Magnum, you're not going to get any closer to Millennium by doing that.
Right.
Maybe a little bit, but not by a whole lot. Well, maybe by a whole lot. You're still better off entering the Marina Gate or even the Windseeker Gate to go to Millennium Force. I'm just trying to think, are they thinking if they did a second path, would it become a thoroughfare as opposed to something that they just want people to walk around? So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I definitely am. Is it going to be the first thing I go to that weekend it opens? Probably not. I'll probably still go to Steel Vengeance or Maverick, but after that, it'll probably be the second thing I go to once it opens.
It's on the list of things to do that day. So as always, thank you for joining us here on CP Unlimited. We're going to have a whole bunch of news coming up here. I can't wait for the opening of the season. We are 1 month away right now, Mr. Lynn. 1 month away.
I cannot wait. I'm ready. I went to Florida a couple weeks ago. Got to go to Busch Gardens, so I got to ride some rides. But I'm just ready for Cedar Point, because that's my favorite park, and they have the best rides in my opinion. So I'm ready to go.
That's the place to be, right? So as always, I am Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Steve Lynn from Cleveland, Ohio, and we will see you next time.
Right on, Red Warriors.